Good morning. I have a very curious cat hanging out. So, madam, you were just up on the camera. Hello, good evening. I hope everyone is doing all right. I see we have people from all over, everywhere, from Japan, from the UK, well, from London, from the Netherlands, and I've got my pumpkin cup out in honor of October that I got a few years ago, and I look forward to it every year. I hope you can hear me all right. My streaming software was being a bit obnoxious earlier, and I know the sound is still a bit tinny, but I have a small plan where I have a friend who has said that they are willing to have a look at my big good microphone and see if they might be able to fix the issue where if you touch the cable it disconnects, which is less than ideal for, streaming. If you're pulling a microphone here and there, you're always touching the poor cable. So I hope that the little dragon, yes, my spouse was in my office doing all sorts of shenanigans, leaving dragons in my space. They have a tiny bit soft. Well, that's all right, so long as it's not too tinny or echoey or, a lot of feedback. But yeah, they were leaving me this cute dragon. I thought it was a nice honor of October. They also left me these. They made little magnets out of stickers. I don't know if you can see this. Here is a little, let's see if you can without focusing on my face, a little plant cat and another little plant cat, because they know me so very well. And I hope everyone is doing all right after all the weather event that has been happening. We are starting to get furnished in the workroom, which is very, very nice. I'm very glad that we are getting there. And I thought I got myself a bigger desk, but I only got myself a space on which to place a basket for Soot that she has been loving. She always wants to be on my lap, but there's rarely space when I'm working. So I don't know if I can show you. Probably not. It'll probably be very bright and over. But imagine that over here there is a little, well, let's see if I can show you. If I turn my computer just so and we go over to webcam mode, then you might be able to see. Wait, is that just a picture? Not my actual webcam. Rude. Very rude. Okay. OBS is being very strange today. I don't know what is wrong, but it is not doing cameras where it is supposed to. So I cannot show you my little void being adorable today, but she is very much enjoying having a little basket on my desk. And I have set up this strange kind of thing where I have a desk that I can move back and forth between where I'm working and where I'm live streaming, because I hoped that would sort of shorten the time that it would take me to set things up. But good evening, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? I hope you're doing all right. We have started to unpack things, which means that we are finally starting to get other projects out rather than just knitting. So what are people working on? The weather in Brazil has been wild for the last week. Oof. I hope you are keeping safe. It is not a fun time when the weather is being really, really strange. It's been a minute since you caught a stream. We finally have a proper fall weather where I'm at, and it's wonderful. Oh yes, we have been getting increasingly chilly weather too. I feel very lucky compared to how everyone else is suffering in various kinds of weather. So I hope that people are staying safe. We are having autumn weather right now. I can't see much really out the window because I have my plants in front of the window, but we are trying to get everything set up for filming again. I can't wait. We haven't really finished painting, but I had to set my foot down and be like, we have to paint in between filming because I can't not go back to work soon. This is stressing me out. Happy to be here for the first time? Well, welcome! Working on a hood loosely inspired by the Shoal Hand find. You are most welcome. We have a very chill little live stream. People usually like just hang out, or they're crafting, or they're doing house chores. Like, anything goes. We are no judging. And yeah, we also pause for ads. So if you get ads, don't worry. I just sit here and we chill. I grab my beverage of choice so that we remind everyone to stay hydrated, because if you get ads, you are supporting the channel, so it would be unkind to leave you behind. So we try not to do that. So we just try to be very calm and chill. And if you haven't already, join our Discord where you can show off, because you can't really share pictures in stream, but you can in the Discord if you want to. If you're talking about something and your friends are being curious. Thankfully you're outside the damage zone, but the destruction is so sad. Yeah, oh, you mean Helena? Yeah, I saw, and it's so awful. I've been wondering where... I know Lady Justice Susan was here last week, and she's not here today, so I'm hoping they are staying safe, because they were also in the middle of the scary zone. So fingers crossed. I hope you are staying as safe as you can be. This is unprecedented weather event becoming more and more precedented, sadly. So I hope people are staying as safe as you can be. Swapping between practicing tablet weaving, making random lucid cords, and updating my CV. That sounds like a nice eclectic mix of things to do, so that when you're tired of one, you can do something else. That does seem to work very well for a lot of people, so I absolutely can support that kind of thing. And Catboy is saying the temperatures are finally starting to drop. That is very good news for you. I know it has been very, very warm where you are for a long time. What happened to my thread? Madam, why did you tear? Rude. Anyway, I have been knitting for the last few weeks, but now I have gotten my little crazy patchwork thingy back, and so we are working slowly on that. So it is being very cute. I don't know, would you like I suppose we could do a little workroom tour if you would like, but that will involve shaky cam, because I can't do that any other way. It looks a bit strange right now because I have it set up for streaming, which is different to when I'm working. Yeah, it's inevitable that we talk a lot about weather, I feel like, on these hangouts, because that is something that is on a lot of people's minds. Oh, come on, madam. Behave. Hello, Marianne. Welcome. We are just starting out. I was at a museum a few months ago and saw an exhibit about quilts. There was a Victorian crazy quilt, and I thought of you. It's nice. There are a lot of more skillful quilters than me, and also do a lot bigger projects than I do, but I do find it very nice and meditative, and ever such a nice way to use up those scraps. Hello, I was supposed to not knit more today, but I think I might have to now. Yes, I support that. It is winding down time for me, so I'm like, I'm allowed to do whatever I want. I think that is the way we're gonna roll. And why not? It is evening after all. At least in these parts. I know parts of the world are only just waking up, but in these parts we have winding down time, which means that I feel like I'm allowed to do anything, and I want to show you the workroom, so you will have to suffer shaky cam. If that is a problem for you, I recommend you looking away for a moment and just listen on sound for a little while, maybe 5 minutes, shouldn't be that long. I will let you know when I put the camera back in stable mode again. Okay, so shaky cam shall commence. I must first push this desk away so I can add things. Let's see. Okay, there you are. Let me grab you. And let's see what you can see. So here is a new work table, currently full of stuff. It is 2 bench plates stripped together that we found on sale with 2 cupboards underneath. I finally did the YouTube Swiss things and put storage underneath my work table, which is most excellent, and I shall find baskets for these eventually. Here is our trusty cupboard that you have seen before, full of fabrics, and I just finished unpacking today, and fabrics on top, because that is how we roll. This is my desk void, who has decided that in order for me to not have someone begging for cuddles while I'm working, we must sacrifice desk space for a basket, and I might get a different basket for her in time, but she is so very cute. Over here we have some more storage, because why not? Over in this corner right here is where my desk lives when I'm working on regular filming, but right now my desk is right here. In front of. Let's see if we can do this in a good way so that you can actually see. Whoop. So here is our little live stream corner that I've tried to set up, where we sit and we hang out. And then the idea is kind of that my desk, big and messy as she is, has, you know, felt wool protectors underneath the legs. She is a standing desk, which means that I can put her all the way down at the lowest setting so that I can reach her from this one, and then I can put her up when I'm doing that, and then she kind of just slides. She isn't that heavy, but I can slide her back and forth into the room when we are working. So yeah, the most important thing is definitely Madame Void snoozing in her basket, being very adorable. But I do think I want to make you another basket that is not quite so large, because as you can see, she's using the whole thing. So the only problem with this standing desk, it has a hand crank rather than electricity, which I enjoy, so I can hand crank her up and crank her down again, which I find, you know, more robust, less likely to make mistakes. And yeah, I'm really happy. Like, there you are, chat, hanging out. But yeah, I'm hoping it's not quite perfect yet, but I'm hoping this will be a good space to make videos and what have you. Let's see if we can put you back where you are supposed to go. How did I put this again? Sorry. I'll try to. There we go. And then stay kindly where you're supposed to be. Oop, nope. Don't fall over. Yeah, I don't have this set up quite perfected yet. We are doing our best. I don't feel like I can exactly do this. I don't think clamping this to the top of my sound dampener thingy is going to be a permanent solution, because it's very hard to get the camera to stay where she is supposed to, but there we are. Let's see. You're a bit askew now, but hello. Comfy mode. Storage is indispensable. It is so indispensable when you have all of these place demanding crafts. But yeah, can we straighten you up at all, Madam Camera? Not even a little bit. Excellent. Love to see it. Yeah, yeah, this is definitely not going to be a permanent solution. I am not a fan. Can I put you over here? Void requires all the baskets. She definitely does. And if she doesn't require the basket, she requires my lap, which can be a bit annoying when you're trying to work. There, I actually think that's better. That's not too bad. Clamped you on the laptop stand or the screen thingy, because that's the wrong way. Hello, Kira Ona. I have just showed off my little temporary. I'm starting to get furnished in the new workroom. Love the desk. Yes, I love the desk too. It is not too heavy, although we got the top of the desk on sale, and I got the undercarriage to match it, and then I measured the width of it, but I didn't measure the depth, so I had to like piece on a piece of wood to make it the right depth, but it works out somehow. It works. It's a desk, so that is how things are working right now. But yeah, the void basket is such a lovely addition. Yeah, I think she's very good. It was very clear that she wanted to hang out, and she was lying on my laptop sleeve, so I was like, surely we can find you a more comfortable solution. But it does have the added unbenefit of that you can't see her as much in the camera unless we were to get a kiddie cam. I know some people do that, where they like put a little camera pointing at where their little furry void is snoozing, so that might be something that we do in time, maybe. That would be cute. Not that I have an extra camera to spare unless I figure out a way to connect my phone. Problem for future streaming thingies. Adjustable height desks are amazing, I swear by mine. I've never had one. This is my first time splurging on one, and I was scared of the electric one because they were very convenient. I mean, I tried one when we were looking at things, and I was very attracted to one of them, but I feel like my hand crank is going to be a good solution. We even got one of those treadmills secondhand, so that I could hopefully get a little bit of movement going with the adjustable height. And also sometimes it's just nice to change the desk as you're sitting, so I'm hoping this will be a good setup. It is a bit chaotic still, but I am enjoying it. But yeah, so it's being so cute. I think maybe we do need a kitty cam, don't we? Eventually, like if you were gonna stay there in your basket, we should have a little in the corner of the live stream, just have a little extra camera set up where people can look at you snoozing. That would be very adorable. Anyway, that was a very very shaky, very chaotic workroom tour. It is a small room, but it has what we need. I mean, it has storage. I can put my blouses and skirts and what have you. I have fabrics, I have books, I have all sorts of things, office shenanigans. And spouse bought me some cute little pumpkins in honor of the season, so we have those. This one is a little bit bright, so it's hard to see things on a... Definitely need a kitty cam? Yeah, I'll have to look into that, see what I can cobble together with what I have available. Surely I can... Yes to kitty cam. Many voting yes to kitty cam. I shall have to look into if I can do it. If I can connect my phone to my computer, that will be the easiest, but iPhone and Linux has not been the best of friends, so I will be curious to see, where was I, if they actually will talk together or if they will be annoying, as they sometimes are, and make difficulty. Maybe an old laptop. It's not a bad idea. I mean, right now, one of the reasons I wanted to have my desk rather than the ironing board, in addition to it being more safer for all my equipment to be on a stable desk and not a rickety little ironing board, was that I wanted to have two screens, so that if we are looking at... There's an app to do just that. Interesting. I might have to look into that. But it was that I wanted to have two screens, that if we are talking about something on the screen, or you're showing me something and I want to go Google it and show the rest of the viewers what we're looking at, then you don't see the big messy OBS setup, you just get the picture of whatever it is that we are looking at, which I thought would be nice and clean and easy. And also because I have, the big microphone that I do voiceovers on is not something that I have been able to use for live streams, because it is too heavy to be on the ironing board. So now we have a desk where I could clamp my big microphone to, and ideally be able to stream using that, giving us even better, softer sound. But my microphone is annoying and disconnects as soon as you touch the cable. So I have a friend who has very generously agreed to look at it and see if they can just remove the connection altogether and just permanently weld the cable to the microphone without the connection that keeps popping out. So I will be so grateful if they manage to do that, and I really hope they do, because then we will have, it will be a little ironic, wouldn't it, if we have like this nice cozy stream and then you have a big streamer microphone hanging off the side, just be like super contrasting. Void can enjoy the kitty magnet that old laptop fans can be. That is very, very true. She is very happy on her wool blanket that she is enjoying, so we shall see. But now that we finally have the furniture up, I feel like I can finally start getting back to work and setting things up and doing things and investigating things like that. Like, how do we set up a kitty cam now that it seems that Kitty is abandoning my lap for being close to me in her basket, which I will say is very cozy to have her on my lap, but it's also very nice to be mobile and able to walk around while things are happening. So if you are going to stay there, we are going to find a way to show you to the masses. I think someone told me about a streamer, like a game streamer, who did that. They had a kitty cam where their little assistant kitty was lying next to them and they had their own camera so that their viewers could enjoy the view of our feline overlords, which is definitely something to take into consideration, I think. Anyway, how are people doing with the crafts and everything? I'm just doing some French knots right now because it's very easy for me to just do a single color russet stitches, and I forget that, oh yeah, we can do more colors, which doesn't have to be more complex, but looks more complex because there's a lot more going on, which I think is fun. Maybe if I worked on these projects a little bit outside of live streaming, they would eventually get done, but I also kind of enjoy having specific live streaming projects like that. And we are about to have ads. So if you're new here, we pause for ads, you don't miss anything. We are just going to chill out, hydrate in a seasonally appropriate pumpkin mug. And hi darling, am I talking over your nap? Yeah, rude. Suggestion for equipment for Android. There's an app called Droid Cam which feeds into OBS that I use. Interesting. Don't think I have any Android. But I mean, I have a Linux machine, surely. I shall put it on my tab so that I can look into it later. Thank you. Droid Cam. But if it feeds into, so if it can feed into OBS, I mean, that's what the SB1 is doing, my camera. My big camera, my filming camera is doing that, and then we have the laptop, which does have its own screen, but it seems to be having issues today for unknown reasons. The whole of OBS seems to be having issues today, so I'm not sure what that is about. we'll have to investigate. But there is an update looming, and that might be why things are starting to hiccup. I am very... I'll do that, Kirana, thank you. I will look into it first on my own and see if I can figure out what can happen. But if I can use my phone, that would be magnificent. I don't know about you, but I have very specific demands for teacups. This is a little bit, almost not quite, but because it has quite a wide lip, I like my teacups to have very thin lips so I get more tea and not so much porcelain. Hello, Max. Welcome. We are just chilling out. But most importantly, I think, is that they are... But let me empty this first. Is that they are white inside so that I can see the color of my tea. So many teacups are black or the same color as the outside, orange or something inside, and then I can't see the color of my tea. And as a person who enjoys green tea, I very much like to see what shade my green or white tea has become. I also like them to sort of curve back upwards in on themselves. And be nice to hold. I'm quite demanding when it comes to teacups. Hello, Stripy Crayons. I hope you're doing well. Sickness is no fun. I was sick while moving, and I cannot recommend. It is not a good time to be having fevers while you are moving boxes and carrying furniture. Is a recipe for fainting down the stairs. I did not, fear not, I didn't actually do that, but there were a few times where I had to grab the hand railing. We've just had the biggest solar flare of this solar cycle this morning, about 4 hours ago, messing with the radio signals and my head body. Oh, that sounds scary, Catboy. I hope you're staying safe. Yeah, there has been interesting solar activity, isn't it? I hope you are staying safe with that and that it didn't damage too much infrastructure. I remember the really big solar flare that was happening just as electricity was taking off, I think it was, and it fried several copper cables, which was really interesting. Oh gosh, I must have dark inside of my mugs, otherwise I end up getting them so dirtied with tea smuts over the years. But Smithy, if you are British, you do milk and sugar in your tea, do you not? I went to a wedding in Ireland and there was so much tea. I was so happy. In Norway, everyone asks for coffee. I was so happy to be getting tea at any and all occasions, and the milk and sugar with their strong black tea is absolutely delicious. When it's up to me, I do make just green tea without anything in it, but a good strong black tea with milk and sugar. I had a lot of oat milk, I remember, but it was so delicious. And then I understand that that the color of the mug does not matter so much. But when I am enjoying my green tea, I do like them to be white on the inside. But that's why it's something for everyone, isn't it? But that means, ooh, that reminds me, there is this adorable, I think it was on Etsy, back when Etsy was still not a dumpster fire. There was these cauldron mugs that were just adorable. Let's see, but they are black inside, so I cannot use them. I will not see the color of my tea. Let me see if I can show you. Shall we test my new screencast thingy? Cauldron cup. I wanted it so much. Can we just do this? Yeah, okay, fair enough. You shall see the mess that is all of my tabs. Almost. I know, right? Cauldron mugs. Let me see. Is this the right one? Okay, I can enlarge this a little bit so you don't see all my tabs and all my shame. Oh, wait, what is going on? Why are you... That is the wrong... Okay, let's just put you over there for now. Goodbye. Look at it. It's a cauldron mug. I love it. It's so cute, and it has the right shape too. I really like for my mugs to be like round bellied and then narrow a tiny bit, keeps the heat for longer. I think they are so adorable. I really want one, but they are black on the inside. So perfect for Smithy, not so much for me. But yes, it is so adorable. Oh, you're from Midwestern North America, so I always have my tea plain. Always drink black tea, so the color isn't as important. That is fair enough. That is fair. Currently drinking a strong tea, Yorkshire Gold, with a bit of soy milk, but I drink Darjeeling and oolongs without milk. Oh yes, can't mess with a good oolong with milk. They are so good without. Oh, I need to buy myself some oolong. I'm back to a city that has a tea shop for loose leaf tea, and I am excited. Oh yes, so ready. Mugs with the surprise design at the bottom of the mug, so once you drink the tea you get it. See the picture? I have one with a cat at the bottom. Oh, that is so cute. I love that. I love cute teacups. I love the kind of shenanigans of having a little bit of... Like, I love having a shelf that is just chaotic, cute mugs that aren't... They don't match. They just have... You know, I like this cup, so I buy this cup, and then I have some other cups that I like, and it's just a chaos shelf of all sorts of different mugs that you all like for different reasons, and it's just the most amazing chaos shelf. And it's also very useful because if you have all matching cups, your guests get really confused. They don't know which cup is theirs. But I've noticed this, that when we are having guests over, when you give them a range of different cups, everyone knows whose cup is theirs, so there's no confusion. So chaos turns out to be an excellent solution for other things as well. I'm currently drinking from one of my two 600 milliliter mugs. I love a good smoky left side Sochan tea. Oh, that's amazing. 600 milliliters is very big, though. I usually have soup in those. I have two enormous mugs. I think they're 600 milliliters. They might be half a liter. But they're quite large, and I think the ceramic is too thick for tea, so I have soup in them, and they are amazing for soup. Can absolutely recommend. I always have my tea plain, though. I don't like the way tea looks with milk in it. Interesting. Yeah, I usually have my tea plain when I'm at home, but when we were guesting in Ireland, the milk was kind of the custom, and I wanted to try it, and it was very good the way they made it, really delicious. I can absolutely understand why that is a thing as well. Currently drinking a mix from the farmer's market called Plum Spice. It's black tea with fall spices, including whole cloves. Oh, that sounds very much like it is a very good choice for the season. I have not pulled out my autumn teas yet. Maybe that's what I should have done instead of going for my green tea with mint on autopilot. I do have some with warming autumn spices too. Maybe that is what I should have done, but perhaps next time. I mean, what better thing to have in a pumpkin-shaped mug than a tea with pumpkin spice flavors? That would have been fun. Now I want to have some tea. I'm just drinking water. Yeah, I thought it was getting chilly enough where I am, that I was like, I think it is time to graduate from iced teas of summer to the hot teas of the winter season, at least where I am at. So I boiled the kettle just before fighting with the computer in order to go live. It looks relatively small, really, but it's over half a liter big. That is interesting. I love things that don't look the size that they are, and then you're confused and amazed at how things are. Typho tea. My sister-in-law went to the UK and brought me back a massive box of tea. The best. That is the best. We have a friend from London who, if he visits, he wants the Yorkshire tea, and there have been a couple of international stores where we have been able to find it so that he can get the correct tea, that he's like, this is the tea that he will drink. Like, sometimes you just cannot mess with people's tea. It is just, that's how it is, and that's how it's supposed to be. Also, there is something lovely about choosing a mug from your friend's selection of quirky mugs. You both learn a little about each other's taste. I know, right? It is... Oh, I don't have it with me now, but since I enjoy my quirky tea cupboard, spouse went to a flea market and I asked if they found a quirky cup, could they bring one? And they brought this dorky mug that has a llama on it. And his answer to whether they could bring a dorky mug or not was this dorky ass llama cup where it says no problema on it. They thought they were very clever because they were kind of like, it was the answer to the question and the answer both physically and with words, which was hilarious. They were very proud of themselves. I remember the brand when Sherlock was so big, with the one with Benedict Cumberbatch, and you had the brand of teas, a whole company making tea called Moriarty's. I don't know if they still exist, but we were most amused at the time. Dutch Harvest make a hemp chime with loads of spices, which is also really good. Oh, there's so many good teas I want to taste. I've just been enjoying matcha iced tea all summer long. It's just been delicious. Not with milk or anything, not a matcha latte, just matcha powder and ice cubes and water. And it's so good, it's so refreshing. It is amazing. I just love that little bit of bitter when it's hot. More refreshing than water. It's turning into a real tea live stream. My favorite mugs are one that my friend gave me that's white with a black grid design, and the one that's white at the base with a lemon that says squeeze the day. I love it. There are so many dorky mugs out there, and they're just amazing. Oh, we'll have to share our silly seasonal mugs on the Discord now. I support this. This is a very good use of our time, I think. I love me a good silly mug. I also love handmade mugs, and then I think about the crafter who made it when I use it. It's just so many good mugs. I also can't believe how long it took me to get French knots, when the only problem was that I was winding the thread in the wrong direction on the needle, and then as soon as I turned it around, they started working, which was very nice. But also, why had this been a problem for so long? We're gonna do this whole row. Yeah, why not? Yes, I much support sharing of silliness. You will need enough silliness in the world. Anyway, I hope people are doing well. I'm ready to get back to work, although we're still quite exhausted from moving shenanigans, but we are starting to get more settled slowly. Spouse has picked up paint colors for the bedroom and it's gonna be nice, and the kitchen is pretty functional already. I mean, the dishwasher broke as soon as we moved in, so that is getting changed, but it is a very nice space, and the cats are really enjoying having all sorts of windows to look out, and they're also getting a lot more cat trees and cat furniture and access to tall cupboards so that they can spy upon us when we are walking by. So it has another basket on top of a very tall wardrobe or cupboard all the way up under the ceiling, and she has been loving it. We always put blankets inside the basket so that it's nice and snug and soft. And whenever I wonder where Soot is and she's just gone the whole day, she'll wake up and stretch and just get out of that basket, and we were like, ah yeah, I should have known that that was where you were snoozing. And it's very nice because now in the living room we have this enormous cap tree that someone gave to us from a friend of a friend of a friend because it was too big for their apartment, and that one reaches almost all the way up to the ceiling. And now we also have a basket on top of a cupboard that is almost all the way up to the ceiling, which means both cats have a ceiling spot that they can access without having to fight each other for the coveted ceiling spot, which means they can both snooze peacefully throughout the day, and they are very happy indeed. Just posted my last Hocus Pocus. I need this to focus. Oh, interesting. Because I've seen a different one, which is Hocus Pocus I Cannot Focus. But that one is very good. I like that. Nope, still warm. I suppose that's the good thing about a very wide cup, is that it does cool down quite fast. Yeah, what's everyone up to this first Thursday of October? Are you getting ready for the spooky season? This was very much not a thing when I was a child in Norway, but I'm kind of, I like embracing, especially the cozy autumn leaves, cute little ghosties. Spouse has been hanging little bats up in the living room, and more of these dragons. Like I got one, but one of our lamps got like a whole horde of little dragons, and they look like moths flocking towards the light, which is hilarious. Tea, candle, blanket, knitting, I'm all settled in. Well, welcome Luxolair. I'm glad you are ready to get cozy. It is the season to get cozy. I was gonna get some live lights as well, like some candles, but I found the candles, I found me tea lights, and I found everything else, and I couldn't find my matches. So I don't get that much closer to candles if I cannot find my matches. Maybe next time, we shall see. Luckily Sud is very good about candles. Embla is a bit too thoughtless, and she has a very floofy tail, so I'm always a bit nervous that she might get her tail singed, but Sud is quite cautious, so I trust her to not be unsafe around candles. I will listen on the bike there, when I arrive I will have to stop. Well, have a good day at work, Fruitsels. Shall see you again at some point, I hope. Making a patchwork witch hat and waiting for spooky fabric to come in. Oh yeah, it is this. It is very much the season. I had all these plans for October this year, but then moving happened and I'm not sure we will be able to do any of them. Luckily, fabrics and yarn are things that will keep. So if I have to do it next year or the year after that, nothing will spoil. It's not like a cooking channel where things can go bad if you don't have the spoons to make the things straight away. Love the little dragon? Yes, and be fairy. I love it too. Spouse was up here in the dark of the night doing shenanigans, and then they were surprised that I just left it up for the live stream. I was like, why not? It's October. Let us have some dragons. They have threatened to put up new stuff between every live, so we shall see if they stick to it or if they're busy doing other things. I am curious. So excited for autumn, but October is all celebrating birthdays and weddings this year. That sounds busy. That sounds very, very busy. Yeah, autumn is a big. I don't know if this is like just our friend group's thing. Sorry. Oops. Oh no. Sorry about that. Let me get you back up again in a moment. Gosh. I see some issues with this setup, such as the stability of everything. Mind those knees. Pardon, sorry about that. Hope that wasn't too loud for you. I know the camera and microphone might have hit some things. But yeah, I was gonna say that we have a lot of birthdays in the latter half of the year and not so many in the first half of the year, and I don't know if that is just random attribution or if that there is something to that, but that was exciting. I'm sorry, I don't mean to throw you around on my desk. That's what I get for trying to cross my legs in the middle of talking about other things. I think we'll have to find some other way to stabilize the camera. I don't really trust this setup we have going on. I thought it was stable. I might have to get something else for that. No, we fell over. I'm glad you are having a good time with it. I feel a bit bad, but yeah. We shall find some way to stabilize this. But I hope it doesn't involve buying another tripod, because I don't like having all the equipment all the time, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. And it wouldn't be that bad to have a little tripod, but it would make this setup even easier than it was. I've been meaning to make an apple pie for ages now, and I still haven't gotten to it. Life keeps happening, and I haven't gotten to any of my festive plans yet either. Yeah, I know the feeling. I had so many plans, and so few of them are happening this year. But there's always next year. One can hope. So it's all right. You are not alone if you are feeling a bit frustrated about that. And we are about to have some ads, which means that we get to hydrate and just chill out for a bit. I'm sorry, madam. Yeah, I didn't mean to shake the boat. Your tripod was a stack of university textbooks. That does not sound very stable indeed. Yeah, no, I was very lucky. I had many years ago when I moved to attend university, I was going to Tromsø, which has northern lights, and a photographer, an enthusiast, a friend of mine, they took pity on me when they saw that I was trying to take photos of the northern lights by sort of propping my camera up against windowsill in an open window and sort of trying to wedge it at the right angle. And they gifted me a tripod, and I had no idea what such things cost at the time. I was but a young student, and they said they've got it on sale and that they thought of me, and I sort of accepted, thinking nothing more of it. And now that I'm buying more gear, I have seen the brand that they got me that on the tripod that I still use for filming is not the cheap brand. So it's probably true that it was on sale, but it would still not have been a cheap tripod. And now I kind of feel bad because I didn't realize how expensive the gift that they got me probably was. But I'm very grateful for it, and I still use it every time that I film. That is my go-to tripod. It's a very versatile little piece of equipment. So Yeah. And I just kept it all these years, and now it is very useful for all things YouTube and filming. But yeah, working without a tripod, I have tried it, and it is not the best time, so I can really empathize, Stripey Crayons, because you do your best and it's still quite challenging. Such a kind friend. Yeah, they really were, and I had no idea how valuable it was when they gave it to me, so I am still flabbergasted that they would spend that much money on me, and at least I'm sort of being grateful for the gift by using it a lot. And it has been a great help, because goodness knows it is expensive enough to try to get all this gear when you're doing these things. Because you need sort of a microphone for this, and a microphone for that, and a tripod for this, and a tripod for that, and don't like this equipment inflation. You're trying to keep it low, but sometimes you just need it anyway. I bought a camera clamp because I could not have a tripod in my small craft corner, plus it lets me move it around easier. That is probably what I'm thinking about, if I can find a camera clamp that I could put, because I got, again, on the sort of outlet sale where we found a lot of cheap office stuff, I found this sound dampening board that sits on the back of my desk, and I really like it because it serves two purposes. If I shove my desk up against the wall, the sound dampening board just kind of hides all my mess that you've already now seen from the from the chaotic shaky cam workroom tour. But if I shove it up against the wall with the sound dampening board facing out, you can't really see a lot of the mess, which makes for a much cleaner shot. But also, of course, it does sound dampening, which hopefully will reduce the echo and give us a much softer, cleaner sound. And it is indeed also a place that we could clamp something if I had a camera clamp. So I might look into that to see how, as a little extra thing that probably will make live streaming that much easier. Because sometimes it is worth making your life a little bit easier instead of having your viewers fall over and all sorts of chaos, which we don't want to happen. Doesn't seem very respectful to one's lovely viewers to have them fall over at inopportune moments. Thoughtful and generous friends are lovely to have. They really are. Especially when they make you feel seen, you know? It's really, really valuable. Like, because I'm putting up ceiling lamps and whatnot, we tried to get a multimeter, like a little device that helps you measure currents and things like that online, and we got it secondhand, and usually we have very good experiences buying secondhand. We have never really had an issue, apart from this one time. We couldn't get the multimeter to work. We didn't understand why, so I brought it to my friend who's an electrical engineer, and they tested it, and they compared it with another one, and they were like, no, this one is dead, this one doesn't work. This one is e-waste and shall be gotten rid of. And it was a bit sad, but it wasn't very expensive. I mean, we got it again secondhand, so we were like, oh well, into the e-waste bin you go. And then we didn't think about it because other things were going on, and then we had a moving in party after our great big move, and our friend showed up with a tiny multimeter from a time when they had forgotten their big one and they had bought a little tiny one because they needed to get their job as an electrical engineer done. And they don't really need it because they usually remember their big friend, so they gave us the small one, and now I have a tiny one that will help me not die when I am changing ceiling lamps and the small things that we are allowed to do without being electricians, because there are a few things that we are allowed to do on our own, and changing ceiling lamps is one of them. So that was, again, it was one of those really kind gifts where I just felt really seen. They had seen that I had wanted this thing, and then they gave us one. And then it's that thing about feeling like you are seeing. That is so valuable. Perhaps adding a clamp from a swing arm lamp or using a clamp from a bicycle mount. I did that for a while. Ooh, interesting. I shall have to look into the various things that are available. I had hoped that my little gorilla tripod, you know, the little flexi arm thingy, would have been useful enough, but pardon? Apparently she was not stable enough for the sound dampening board or for the tripod that holds my second screen in place. So we shall, well, it's not a tripod, it's the monopod. It's one of those that is just like one arm holding the thing. So it's not technically a tripod because it's just one thing, but the thingy that holds my screen in place. So I shall have to look into something. The stream from this stream is so much, the sound from this stream is so much better than the last stream I attended, and even that was tolerable. I'm glad it is getting better. The first one in this phase, I tried to dampen the echo, and I did not dampen it nearly enough. We still had so much echo. It was horrible. And then the one after that, after I had been sick for a while, was still challenging. It was still better, but yeah, I hope it'll be even better next time. If in time, we shall see. It's that whole thing with like 1% better all the time, and then you end up doing quite a lot of improvement. Maybe the little gorilla tripod thingy can be part of the kitty cam setup. That will make me feel like I'm not wasting equipment if I do splurge on something to make you a lot more stable when we hang out, since this is becoming a regular cozy occurrence. Although I'm also very ready to start working on scripts and filming and things again, although I feel like I'm still in summer mode because that's when I sort of stopped filming, and now it's autumn and my brain is not quite catching up. Just sat down and looked for some company, and there you are. Well, here we are. Yeah, we've had quite an exciting day, Liard, so welcome. We've had the tripod fall over, we've had a shaky cam workroom showing, we've had a kitty cam discussion because Madam has gotten a basket on my desk and is currently snoozing her heart away, and if she's gonna stay there when I'm streaming and working, it is only fitting that we try to figure out some setup or another where we can enjoy her Madam's voidy visage as much as possible, and not just me looking at her having a good time hanging out. I'm off. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening. Well, enjoy your day at work, Fruit Souls. I hope you have a good one. We might see each other again at another time now that things are starting to get a little settled in. I am looking for a return to normal that I have been wanting for the last month. And I'm hoping that we will get the return to regular streams and regular videos, I hope, fingers crossed, at least semi-regular and all good things. So hopefully our paths may cross yet again. I hope you're having a good day, Liard. Welcome. If you're crafting or relaxing or something or other. We're starting to get more settled. I've been unpacking boxes today, and I'm not sure if everything is going to stay where I put it, but at least we have a beginning of a system, and that is very, very nice. I went for shelving for everything rather than drawers, because I feel like sometimes drawers can be a bit shallow compared to the size of the furniture. Also, it's considerably more expensive, and I have never bought new furniture before, and this was the first time, and it was terrifying enough as it is. So I went for shelves because they were less expensive and more versatile, I felt, which means that we can get baskets that fit inside, and then we can organize our stuff. Let's see, managed to move my restless legs without Without knocking the entire stream over, that would be good. I feel like that would be a good thing to aim for. Am I talking too much, madam, on top of your nap? Yeah, I'm sorry, darling. I have very poorly planned this because while I did bring kitty snacks to entice you with, they are in a drawer that I cannot access when my desk is pulled all the way up here, so I shall have to think about that and how we can set it up even better. But I do feel like this office has room for improvement. It's not the largest space, but I mean, we'll make it work. It's a good thing. So long as we have the storage, we can make a lot of things work, I think. I lost a lot of action. Yeah, it's been an eventful stream, not entirely voluntarily. I'm hand sewing wintertime gifts for the coming season. Oh, that is lovely. I should really get going with that too, shouldn't I? It is the season for, I mean, making gifts all year round is also a good thing, because then you're not ending up stressing at the end of it. But maybe I should make a list and we can make some stuff together, because that is very nice. It has to be something simple though, so I can manage to talk with you at the same time. It's not always the easiest. That is a very nice, cozy thing to be doing now that the evenings are getting longer this side of the hemisphere. I always get the urge to craft and drink tea and chill out and do all of the things. And it's getting time for the Hogfather and going postal, and I don't know, it's just nice and cozy, moving moods. I haven't watched a lot of television lately, or like movies or anything, but sometimes it's nice to just curl up and relax. I keep thinking that these Victorian crazy patchwork things would make great gifts, but they take a fair bit of time. So if you're making for a lot of people, that can be a bit of a challenge. But maybe I'm being a bit too ambitious with my embroidery. I don't know, once I get started with embroidery, especially this kind of loose, no strong recipe embroidery, I just want to keep going. It's like I can just add one more detail and another, and then before you know it, you are just over embroidering whatever it is you're doing, and it is glorious and whimsical and just fun, and I just love it. Aww. You are beautiful. Yes, you are. I'm trying to desperately finish my leaf sweater soon so I can start working on gifts. I want this one done first before I pick up something else. I really understand that. I know some people like to work on like 10 different projects at once, but I struggle with staying motivated and like focused if I do that. And if I have really complex projects and I put it down and I work on other things, I'm very often tempted to just frog the big complex thing, because I kind of lose the steam, like the forward momentum, and I'm like, oh, but where was I? What's going on? And some people do that really well. I'm not one of them. I kind of just want to let go of it and start something new and just reuse the yarn for something else. So I need my long-term projects to be fairly simple things that I can just pick up and put down, not those complex things that can be super amazing when they're done, but I kind of do need to, same as you, like work on them, if not in one go, because I mean sprints are difficult too, but sort of I need to work with them regularly enough, like once a week, that I keep that momentum going. even if it takes a year and a half to finish, like in the case of that sweater. I'm close, only a pattern repeat or two before I need to do the ribbing of the bottom hem. Oh, you worked so fast! I can't believe how fast you've been working. I really hope you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. It is the second glorious leaf sweater that I have seen being made in the wild, and I'm so happy to see them. I've also heard about people making the As You Like It shawls, but I haven't seen any pictures in the Discord or anything yet, so... But I'm hearing about people making them, and it makes me very excited. I do want to make a glorious leaf cardigan. I haven't started yet because I'm also making other stuff for other people, and I feel like I should make things for them first, but should all over ourselves, should we? But I'm definitely not having more than one sweater or cardigan on the needles at the same time, because those big projects don't want to have more than one at a time. Is the mood keeping the momentum going is very important? Yeah, I'm one of those crafters who sort of need to have that forward momentum in a project. Otherwise, I might end up just abandoning it altogether, which can be a bit frustrating if you've gotten far on a project, but at least that means I'm not wasting the yarn by leaving it in a bag, you know, languishing for years on end, because I don't want to frog it, but I don't want to work on it either. But to each their own. Some people really do that well. I'm not one of them. Are we gonna need another thread just for these last couple of French knots? That would be very typical, but fingers crossed I win this ball of yarn chicken. I am making patchwork adobe for the family. Every year I make a new one, so no surprise, but it builds up during the years. Oh, that sounds amazing. I love these kind of gifts that sort of keeps building. We were looking at interior, might have been Fab 5 or something like that, where they were giving this gentleman a collage of photos where they had chosen one photo of him and his wife every year, and they'd put a small version. So each picture frame had, I think, 10 photos in it, so 10 years. And they were hanging side by side, and you would add another black and white photo to it every year. And I thought that was such a lovely little memento in the similar way that it was predictable what they were going to do. They were going to put a picture there every year, and yet so nice, and like making occasions wherever is fitting, I think, can be very like making traditions and making important things just for you can be super nice. Finally able to catch the live stream. The wall looks great with the warm yellow lamp. Thank you. Hope you do a new crazy quilt item. Loving them. Well, I currently am right now. This is exactly the same size as the knitting needle pouch that I made, because I had more yarn, so I have exactly the same. I'm gonna make either another pouch or something else. I love them too. I think they're a lot of fun. I'm also wanting to explore, you know, other patchwork methods, because using scraps is ever such a frugal and fun way to make sure that you use everything. Because I have a big basket of fabric scraps staring at me from a corner, and I would very much like to use it, because that is so satisfying, you know, to feel like you're using all that fabric that you spent hard-earned money buying. And I don't know, it's nice. At the moment I'm getting so many tablecloths and things and have so much fabric already that I don't really think I need to buy fabric in a very long time. Hello, madam, would you like to join us? But yeah, welcome to the stream. We are chilling out. Madam is being very cute. She has gotten a basket on my desk because she is the best and she deserves the best. You also look very sleepy. Can we do this without disturbing you? I think that's another reason she likes the basket, is that I'm not constantly shifting about, putting knitting on top of her while she's sleeping, and I don't know, disturbing her by snuggling her because she's so adorable. I tried the Korean one, bojagi, but it is mostly for more see-through fabric. Oh, I've seen that one. It looks gorgeous. Some of those pieces are just incredible. I've seen some, I think they've been exhibition pieces that are just like really big panels hanging one in front of the other, so you really see how they get less and less see-through because there's more and more hanging in front of them, and oh my goodness, they are so gorgeous. Crazy patchwork looks great, thank you. It is a slow progress. That's what I get for not working on stuff outside of lives, because then I'm working on all sorts of other shenanigans. I use the small pieces of fabric as amigurumi stuffing. Oh, that is a great idea. Yeah, I have a bag of fabric scraps and yarn clippings that are too small to patchwork with, and they usually end up in a similar fashion. I haven't done any amigurumi, but they will be like pillow stuffing, or I have been thinking of making a cat bed for soot with wool scraps, and then they could be stuffing for that and all that sort of thing. So I have this, I just get stubborn where I'm like, I want to use all the yarn and fabric scraps that I bring into the workroom just to sort of, I don't know, it's not even about the principle, it's just like I want to do this because this is so satisfying to use every single bit of fabric and yarn and clipping. It just, oh, it brings me such immense joy. And we are about to have some more ads. I shall snuggle the child and have some more tea. But if you're new here, don't worry, we pause for ads. You don't miss anything. Pardon? If not snuggleable, why snuggle shaped? I know, right? They are so snuggle shaped and they're so soft. And I like to talk about how Soot is like silky soft because she is a short-haired cat, whereas Embla is like cloud soft because she's so fluffy. But they're both super soft, just in slightly different ways. Oh, come on. Okay, we are at the edge of the side anyway, so I shall consider this game of yarn chicken maybe possibly not lost. I have a few stitches left, but I'm at the edge of the backing anyway, so I have to cut this off when I'm doing the edging. You see an interesting change in background. New home. Must have lost something. Indeed, there is a new home, there is a new backdrop, a new background. Spouse made it for me. They are very good at painting, so they have made me this gorgeous green, abstract, cloudy thingamajig in 3 different colors of green. There's a gradient going on this wall that I made to sort of help them not spend so much time on the details, which they do the finishing detail, and I sort of try to do the gradient. We have not been able to do this wall. This wall is still just my gradient, and we're also going to do the moldings in time. But yes, that is why I haven't been able to do much in terms of updating videos or indeed live streams much the last few months, because we have been moving across the country and it has been crazy busy and stressful and we are exhausted, but things are starting to calm down a little bit, so I'm looking forward to getting a bit back into working and work habits and researching and all of the things. Although I'm still in summer mode, I feel like I should make summer videos. But we are in autumn now, so that is quite... But we did indeed move from one side of the country to another, and we are just starting to get settled down. So hopefully work shall commence in not too long. I have my fingers crossed. I've actually missed working quite a bit because you get tired of living in boxes and being stressed about moving and carrying boxes and carrying furniture and all of the things. Hi Alex, let's see, what am I working on today? I'm still knitting away on my sweater. I finished the body and just started the sleeve, so I'm about halfway. That sounds like very good progress. You're also fast at your crafting. I am still working on my little patchwork crazy quilting pouch. I have been doing, let's see, French knots today across this ridge. Let's see. Yeah, where there are like all these nice nubbly little French knots in purple across from one side to the next. That has been a lot of fun. I'm not sure what we're doing now because I have a very distracting cuddly cat. Yes, Milo is a softy cat and Tabita is a silky cat. Yeah, I know, right? We're not the only one making that distinction. Like, they're both super, super soft, but slightly different ways. Am I talking too much on top of your nap? I know, it's a hard life. And now I have to do the hard part of deciding what to do next, unless I continue with more French knots down here, which I think this was one of the first times I live streamed. I started a French knot row here, and as you can see, shamefully, I never finished the rest of the row because I got distracted and then life happened, and I don't know. Excuses, excuses. Let's see if I have more of this. I think it's this purple in my little box of embroidery trays. Would you like to inspect it? It's just yarn. It's not very interesting. Not at all exciting. But yeah, Alex, welcome. How big is it going to be? This is going to be the whole outside of it. So it's going to be the same size as the video that I made because this is exactly the same size, the backing. So it's going to fold over 3 times. It'll be a little pouch-sized thing that is, you know, one for the lid and then folded double for the body of it. And I figure the one that I made I'm using for my knitting needles, and I figure, I mean, this is quite a nice size for bringing a little project with you and, you know, a little patchwork project or something small, or a small knitting project. Or is this the size and you're adding details? Yes, this is the size that I'm adding details. I'm doing the embroidery over all the seams, and I have been doing that for since we started live streaming. When was that? February, March? I have been working on this little project. It has just kind of been my go-to whenever I am feeling like I don't know what to work on. I'm working on this. So on one hand, it would probably be nice if I actually finished it and gave you something else that I could be working on. But on the other hand, it is very nice to have a sort of safe project that I can keep coming back to. If I have nothing else, I can always work on this one, and I don't need to think about making sure I have something to do. There's always this little forever project, which we talked about. I think it's fine to have forever projects when they're easy. If I have complex ones, I will usually struggle. I need to have some kind of progression on them to get anywhere with them. I really should start with my 1890s inspired sweaters if I want to have it for the end of October, start of November. Never knitted a sweater before. Hope it goes well. Well, I hope it goes well for you as well. Sweaters can be quite fun. There are lots of good patterns out there. People are always finding new ways to make sweaters. I enjoy doing top-down sweaters, but I suppose that isn't very authentic to 1890s when they usually did it in sections. But it depends if you are doing it with an inspired sweater. You can knit it however you want. If you're meaning one of those cycling sweaters, I think they are gorgeous. I have been wanting to make one as well, but there are quite a few things on my list, so we shall see if I actually get around to doing that, but I have. Has it been that long already? I always enjoy live. Well, thank you. I think first live was either in February or in March, but indeed it has been over 6 months since we started doing lives. And to think the first one was just sort of a let's see if I enjoy this thing, and it turns out indeed I do, and it seems like you all do, and we're just having a good time, relaxing, hanging out, me forgetting time and knocking things over. But indeed it has been some time. Oh, I think this is a slightly too long thread, but I kind of want to make it work, unless this knot is going to be the end of me. Thread, will you behave? Ha! Got her. First sweater buddies! I love that. That is a very sweet. Yeah. The glorious green leaf sweater was actually only my second sweater. The first one being a sweater that Soot often lies on because it's a little bit too small for me. But because I really wanted to use up my handspun before we moved to London with spouse, and so I made it a little bit too small even then, because I wanted to use the handspun. It was the only way I could justify bringing such a thing with me. Such is silly thinking, but I enjoy them. It's quite fun to have those projects, if they're not too complex, I think. But yeah, it's definitely, you can join our little, if you're not already in the Discord, but I think you are, like you can always get some inspiration and encouragement and help from the Discord. That is a very good way of getting some support if there is no one that you're local to that can provide such things. The one I will make is from Fable Knitwear, and it is top-down knitting. Looks close enough to the historical ones and seems easier. Yeah, that's definitely a very good place to start. I really enjoy. I enjoy knitting in the round. I will admit, I know Shannon Makes is incredible and does historical knitting, you know, as on back and forth needles, on long wooden needles, and I just kind of, I don't want to. I want to knit in the round like I'm used to because it's so easy. I can just go round and round and round, and I really admire her for doing that. But I'm gonna be probably sticking to historical inspirations or adapted patterns because I really enjoy my cable knitting needles, I have to admit. I don't mind using 5 knitting needles to make socks and stuff, but if it's bigger, I really want my round cable needles. But yeah, Fable Knitwear, I've seen some of their patterns and they seem to be doing really great patterns. The second sweater that I made was a top-down sweater, the leaf sweater that you've seen on this channel a few times, and I don't want to go back to knitting in any other way because I always like, it feels to me, and this is silly, the kind of eating the things you don't like for dinner first and then having the things you really like. I used to do that as a kid. I know some people can relate and maybe some people can't, but sort of having the thing that you need to have but don't really want to, and then having the thing that you really want. It's, for me, knitting top down feels similarly, well, where when I knit top down, I get to do all the finicky stuff out of the way, all the increases for the shoulders, all the splitting for the, pardon darling, all the splitting of needles into different sticks for the sleeves and the body. And unless I'm doing something fitted, which usually I like my sweaters to be fairly loose, yeah, I don't have any more increases or decreases to do by that point when I've done all the increases for the shoulders. I've done the splitting of the stitches for the sleeves, and then it's just a knitting, you know, straight down with or without whatever pattern you choose. And it's sort of like dessert. I can just go and knit and just go and have fun. And I don't know, I really enjoy sweaters top down, even though I've only done the one, but it was quite nice. Hello, madam. Are you back for more? Do you think the cats are really enjoying the new space? They used to have one staircase, and in this new place they have two staircases, because there is also a little basement, which humans have also been enjoying, because all the mess that we don't want to deal with right away is can just be shoved down into the basement to be dealt with later, which I must admit is very nice. Little topic change. I'm on my first linen blouse. Any advice except for thread pulling for a straight line? Are you struggling with thread pulling, or is it that you are impatient and don't want to do thread pulling? Thread pulling is the easiest in order to get a straight line. If you have really good eyesight, you could also try to cut after a single thread. It depends on the how fine the weave is. I assume if you're on your first blouse that you may have already bought the fabric, because another one of the easy ways if you are wanting to cut straight is to buy fabrics with patterns. Don't have any suitable things. Oh yeah, I do. To show you, let's see. Conveniently placed. You would have think I planned it, but I didn't. These are not linens. This is cotton. I mean, it's a stripy cotton. So that is a very easy way to cut a straight line, is to simply have a geometric patterned fabric. That is really helpful. This is a wool, but same thing goes here. It goes in both ways. This is a nice tartan little fat quarter piece that I still haven't decided what to do with because it's so gorgeous. Oh, I love it so much. But that is, I've done that a few times, and it's actually really, really helpful for getting a straight line. But thread pulling really is, it doesn't feel like the easiest while you're doing it, and it can be very tedious, especially if you have a thread that keeps snapping, which a lot of new linen will do that because, I mean, fabric quality is going down. I do hand sewing. Would I use silk or cotton thread, as I cannot find linen thread in my country? I will do the pulling. I've heard that it is a temperamental fabric. It is the easiest. As for thread, I would recommend cotton thread if you can't find linen thread, because cotton and linen are both plant fibers. So if you have a good cotton thread, they would presumably shrink in a similar... Yeah, Loxaler is saying the same thing. Silk would be better. Silk is more for buttonhole and finishing. Well, silk can be very strong for sewing too, if you find the right silk thread, but the problem is that it makes the garment difficult to take care of. If you're mixing animal fibers and plant fibers, then you are certainly getting a hand washing garment out of it. If you do linen fabric with cotton thread, you have both plant fibers, which both could go in the washing machine depending on how many details you add to it. My silk thread is very thin. I definitely wouldn't use it for sewing thread then. Same with embroidery floss. Embroidery floss is not meant for sewing. It is meant for colorful details and not so much strong, sturdy. So a good thick cotton thread, if you can find that, could be very nice. I don't have any good threads to show you, but I hope you find something that works. But generally, plant fibers for plant fiber things is often good, and then animal fibers or protein-based fibers with protein-based fibers is it's a rule of thumb that can keep you safe from many things. Although again, silk thread for finishing, you can do that if you want, but when it comes to caring for it, that can be helpful. But yeah, I don't know of any. I have tried many a time to cut linen fabric without drawing thread. Oops. If I have a plain woven, undyed, like white or linen white fabric, and I will think I've cut it so straight, and that it will be at least an inch, half an inch of discrepancy from one side to the other, no matter how carefully I try to cut it to make it straight. And I've just accepted that thread pulling is the way to go. It's less wasting of fabric. It's more It is quite rewarding, to be honest, because they are so straight. The lines are so straight at the end because you're following the warp and the weft of the fabric itself, which is very satisfying, I have to admit. So I'm sorry, I don't have any good alternatives to drawing thread for linen, because linen is quite temperamental. She is quite slippery. She is a beautiful fabric though, and we accept her temperament, but my goodness, she can be a time. Now you wash the linen fabric first. Yes. Washed and ironed, yes, very good. I forgot to ask about that, but yes, it is a very good idea to wash the fabric. Your sewing thread can also shrink, which can be at times it's not usually as big of a problem, but be aware that if you're sewing very tightly with very long stitches, you can have shrinkage with your thread as well, which could be. So usually I try not to have the stitches be too long. It's another excuse for making tiny stitches, and perhaps not tightening them over much all the time, at least not as far as you can go. Oh, I didn't the first time I worked with linen? Yeah, we all do that, don't we? And sometimes I just want to get started with the nice pretty fabric straight away. But I know that I should be better at washing my fabrics first. Sometimes I don't want to, and I don't size up the fabric. But I'm not making a lot of fitted clothes. If you're making fitted garments, it is absolutely a must. But I do like my loose fits, with simple cuff and collar as the only fastening points, or the waistband. But yeah, some fabrics can shrink quite a bit. I've seen some fabrics that have up to like 7 to 10% shrinkage. For plant-based fibers, I mean, for wool it can be a lot more than that if you're felting it in the washing machine, but for a plant-based fiber, 7 to 10% shrinking is quite a lot when you have a pattern that you want to do something with and you've brought it to the yardage that you need. That can be quite devastating. Or you've cut it and it fit you perfectly before it went into the wash, and then it is slightly too small when it comes out. It's so devastating. So don't let your hard work go to waste. We have another knot again. Why are you being a knotty thread? That is not very nice of you. Magic. That is not the prettiest French knot I ever did make. I identify as linen, pretty temperamental and delicate. It's a good fabric to identify with. I can support that. What if one uses a chalk line? String that snaps chalk in a straight line, often used in carpentry, or stretch a edge and pen on linen, assuming it can cut outside the seam allowance. I am curious about the chalk line technique. We've talked about that with hemlines, and I think it will work really well with hemlines. And I'm unsure about linen because it doesn't lay straight a lot of the time. A lot of the time when I lay it as straight as I can, the thread is still all wavy all over the place, but you will have to... but maybe if you experiment with it and report back, we can hear if that is a good way to do it, because I know a lot of people do not like the pulling of thread and would like to have alternatives to avoid said method if they could. But a part of me also wonders if there is a good alternative to drawing thread. Surely we would have found one by now? I don't know. But definitely something to test out and see if it is working. We do like trying and combining methods. I very much enjoy when you get to combine modern and traditional, or you take something from one craft and you put it in with another craft, and it's just so satisfying when you get those really good, fusions and things. So there's some sort of giant clamps to hold it in place. Interesting. So many good theories going on. I don't know. I don't have giant clamps. I imagine it would look quite, Ariete or the Borrowers, or, I know Ariel of his Ariel costumes has been doing that. They've been making these amazing gigantic spools of thread and gigantic needles for their workroom so that everything else looks smaller, and it's hilarious. I love it. They make so many cool things. Like they made this bark wood rug, and just there's so many cool things. Leafy pillows, and I just love it when people have fun with their surroundings. So many times we're told that we need to be like adults and behave properly, and I'm like, no, if it's not harming anyone, why can't we add some whimsy to our lives? Why can't we add little pumpkins and cats and all the cute things just because we can? There's no reason I can't be an adult and whimsy at the same time. And we are about to find some ads, so hydrate everyone. I do find drawing on linen fabric to be relatively cooperative for getting a straight line. Interesting. I think it depends on the linen too, because I have one linen that is super wobbly and super soft, but also like moves all over the place. I couldn't get a straight line there if I tried. And there are other linens that are more cooperative, so I think it depends on the linen too, how tightly woven they are, how soft they are. It depends. Makes me think of Simone Giert's leaf bed. Yes, there are so many good things. I love it when people make like Ariete cosplays and like big clips. And hello, madam. Would you like to join us again? Are you going straight back for your basket? Yeah, I cannot contend with the basket. I am out-basketed in terms of lap quality. I love that you can see her tail at the edge. More people who are fans of Israel's giant items? Yes, it's so much fun. I love adding whimsy to things. Like, why not? Why not add whimsy? It doesn't impact my ability to pay my taxes or take care of myself in any which way. If anything, it makes it easier because I'm having fun. And in Norway, they started a sort of campaign to rebrand, because so many people get all up in doing Christmas lights for winter, and a lot of people don't put them up until November, but you really need them now, from October when things get darker. So they started trying to like rebrand outdoor lights as winter lights rather than Christmas lights. And I thought that was really clever, because we know with psychology and everything, like, you can know the tricks of the trade and still be subject to it, but the lights cheer us up, so it can help stave off seasonal depression and many other things. And it's just such an easy thing to bring some brightness to your mood, just adding some lights to your space, adding silly little cozy lights like this lamp that spouse got me, and this lamp over here that a friend gave me after their mother passed away. And we have some other lamps that are coming, and it's amazing what a little bit of cozy light can do. Although I am told, but that is a very Norwegian or like Scandinavian thing to add cozy lights to your life, because the big light is not so much present anymore, so you need some sort of supplement. I don't know, is that something you do elsewhere as well? Because that is very much a thing here, small cozy lights, fairy lights, string lights, just mood lights. We got this We have gotten some lamps in the living room that where sort of the light bulb is the main feature. So we bought some funky, colorful light bulbs to brighten our day, and it's just fun to be a bit of whimsy. Kind of want to show you that eventually because it's very fun. I think it's fun. Pinning it to a mattress might work, but even then you can't be sure that your warp is perfectly straight, well, warp and weft. That is true. I guess it's a try and fail thing, and I really think it depends on the linen too, because some linens are more cooperative than others, and some linen just slip and slides all over the place no matter what you do. And this one, you can't see this because it's such a small piece, but this linen right here is a twill, and it's a very soft, it has a fairly thick yarn for the warp and weft, and you wouldn't think it would be as different as it is from my other linens, but my goodness, she is slippery and wavy, and you think you have a straight weft, and it's just an S-line all over it. It's amazing. I love her though. She's really soft. She's a really thick fabric compared to other linens that I have, but my goodness, she's so soft. I have her for one of my petticoats, and it's just my favorite. It's just so amazing. I'm in time to catch a bit of the live stream. Hello, Jente, welcome. We are chilling out in the new workroom. Things have been very quiet since the move, but we are starting to get. Last time, for the last 2 streams, we've had just a chair. And now we have. Oops, sorry. Pardon, I'm making noise. Now we have a little table, and we're starting to get some furnishings, little happy pumpkins in honor of October spooky season. So we are starting to get better. It's not quite as echoey here as it was in the beginning. And I am so ready to get back into making videos again. So I hope you're having a good time. We have been chilling out, showing in the workroom, showing off a cat basket that Sud has been enjoying, and just in general, you know, the usual hanging out, working on my little crazy patchwork eternity project where I'm just embroidering more and more and more and more, and it just doesn't seem to have an end to it because I just find more stuff that I want to embroider on it. So some projects just be like that, I guess. I have a little lamp thing with a butterfly hippo on it by Fairy Lights, and it's so much my favorite thing. I know, right? I am so in favor of adding a bit of whimsy in our lives to make us smile, whatever that looks like for you. And that can look very different for different people, but just adding stuff in your home that makes you smile can be so valuable. And at the end too, hello, welcome. We are having a very good day. It is starting to get better quality on the streams again now that the echo is slightly less. We have some furniture in the workroom, and we're starting to get more established, as it were. In Norway, there is a saying, like, if you came from sort of a proper home, like a bit more middle class, not quite, that's not quite what it means, but like had a proper upbringing, whatever that means, you might say in Norway that you came from a furnished home. And I didn't hear that until I was an adult, but we always laughed about it because what's the alternative? Even if it's just a little bit, most of us, in my experience, do have some form of furniture, even if they are camping chairs and milk crates, like you make do in some way, but that is the expression, such as it is. Rarely able to join, but then sometimes I catch it. I'm happy you managed to catch it after all. I'm trying to get back into being more regular again after our involuntary sort of moving hiatus. I have been wondering about doing either longer streams or a little bit more often, but I really wanted to make sure that I was a lot more like established before we could do that. But we shall see. I am very much enjoying our Thursday live stream, and sometimes it's nice to just keep a good thing just because you're enjoying it. Madam Thread, why are you over there? Mexico is all 400-watt bulbs suspended from the ceiling. It took a lot of work to find something else. Oh, I empathize. Yeah, in Norway there's so many cozy lights that you can find everywhere. It's just, especially now in autumn when it's getting really dark, they are just all over the place, and it brings me a lot of joy. Cross-stitching paintings can be good, never-ending projects. They take forever but are easy to make. Oh, I can see that. So long as I manage to stick with, I would have to have a grid or something, because large cross-stitch projects can be so easy to get lost in. Like make one little counting error and you skew the whole thing a stitch to the right. I've never done a really, really big one. I've just done like small ones. But yeah, they are quite easy. You're right about that. Like, so you follow the pattern and you get the result in the end. I started adding cozy lights around my house instead of those overhead ones, and it makes such a difference to my mood. It really, really does. It's amazing how much such a small thing, like you wouldn't think such a small thing would have such an impact, and yet it does. It's one of those things. I so enjoy, my favorite podcast, and I've talked about this before, is Hidden Brain, because much as, you know, the editing podcast and writing excuses and other podcasts help me get better at my job, I feel like Hidden Brain helps me get better as a human, you know, as a empathizing person, you know, taking care of others, seeing others, listening to others, learning about myself and others. Like, it just helps me, yeah, improve as a human, regardless of what I'm working on. And I love it when you get experts in some kind of psychology. I think one was, you know, in convincing, like, salesperson tactics, you know, getting people to buy a thing, and the various tactics that they use. And this person, even though they were an expert in these strategies and studied them, they talked about how they were very much still vulnerable to them. If someone knocked on their door and tried to sell them a thing, they still, like, the technique still worked on them, even if they could see them for what they were, because just because they know how it works doesn't mean it isn't. It's still psychology and it still works. And I find it so encouraging when experts like that say that, because it gives the rest of us, you know, a little bit of leeway to give ourselves a little bit of grace that these things work, even if we feel like they shouldn't, but they do. They really, really do. And cozy lights are one of the things that is such an easy way to make your day a little nicer. And I think whimsy works in the same way. Like, if something makes you smile every time you look at it, that is not silly or money wasted. That is something that makes you smile perhaps multiple times a day, and I think that is well worth it. Like with the silly mugs that we talked about earlier, having, you know, the silly mug collection amongst other things. I don't know, what is your best tip for having something that brightens your mood? I am a fan of whimsical embroideries and things that just are well done but look super chaotic. It just makes me smile, especially if it makes, because there are some people who are like, oh, there is an objectively correct way to do things, and I don't like that kind of attitude. So I enjoy making them cringe at every opportunity by doing something unhinged and just be like, yeah, this is how we're supposed to do it, but I'm going to do it this other way just because I can. And that can just bring me joy in, I don't know, in a small way, whatever way we can, right? We're being quite a moody thread. Spinning yarn is my go-to to feel joy. Oh, I love that. Crafting is such a joy. It's like making things with our own hands. It's magic. It's physical magic. Like, you start with one material and then you turn it into, I mean, who would have thought a plant, a piece of wool, anything really, piece of wood, could just turn into literal physical magic. It's just, it amazes me every time that we can make stuff out of stuff. It seems so silly when you say it, but that is such a nice place to find joy in those repetitive tasks. Like stabbing cloth over and over and over again. As I have to spend most of my time in an office, I try to put some whimsy in how I dress or do my hair. Today I wore 2 braids because I felt like a little fairy with them. I love that, Jente. That is so amazing. Yes, things like that, that just, it doesn't have any like negative impact on the people around us, except perhaps it makes other people smile too, because either you're wearing something whimsical and it makes people smile, or you're in a good mood, so that makes them in a good mood. And I just see no downside to leaning into things that bring us joy. Like, why do we have to leave joy at the door to be serious and grey adults? No. I do not believe this is true. I believe we can be very silly and still fulfill our responsibilities and still be contributing members of society, and whatever that may look like. That doesn't have to be, you know, having a full-time job or anything like that. It can just be being a listening ear and being a kind human being to other people, and just coexisting in the same society. And yeah, that might be colored by the fact that I had a grandmother who because there is a joke in Norway that, you know, when you like coffee, you'll be an adult, or some variation of the theme. Like, when you like this bitter brew, that's when you'll be an adult. Sort of like hair on your chest, silly little tropes thing that have no bearing on anything. But I had a grandmother who never liked coffee, so she would joke about how she never became an adult. She would drink her tea and she would have dolls and she would have her little china collection and she would be very silly with the children and hello, sir. And that was allowed, that was, you know, encouraged, because she was still a contributing member of society. She still had her garden and she grew vegetables, and she could be silly and serious, because I think the thing to keeping a childish sort of joy into adulthood is the whole knowing when to be serious and when to be childish or when to be silly. And if you can balance that, then you can do whatever you want. Adulthood is not an antonym to joy. Exactly, yeah, it shouldn't be. I don't see why. Where I see how it can easily become that if you are exhausted all the time and you don't, like, you're stressed, but it doesn't have to be, and it can be such an easy way to, like, bring a little bit of joy and purpose back into what we're doing. Quality inspection. Oh, Martin, you are the most adorable. Can I put this here while I'm trying to... I find it quite hard to do my French knots without putting what I'm working on down. Sorry, I shall have to disturb your pod just a little bit. Soot really loves her. I know there are these catnip bananas, but they also come in rainbows, and Soot loves them. We're on her 3rd at this point, and she's like a kitten when she gets them. It's adorable. I mean, you're not old, you're just 4 years young. But there are times when we could pull out that absolutely excited kitten out, and it's just so fantastic. I got a tattoo of a cute cartoon fox on my inner forearm because it makes me happy. Exactly. Oh, I love to hear that you guys are doing this because I think that is so important. It doesn't have to be deep, or like, if it makes you happy, that is a reason enough. I just go do things that make you happy if you are able to. There's more than enough time for other things. I think life is serious enough as it is. Let's not make it worse. Alright. You know, spells were taking me for a darkness walk in the after sun has gone down set, so it's gonna be difficult if you're gonna lay on my lap and be all cute and snuggly. I was looking forward to that evening walk. I was gonna say midnight walk, but it isn't midnight, it's just dark out. It's another thing that Norway has that I think the rest of the Scandinavia does too, and I think everyone is always surprised, is that we have like reflective clothing and reflective items and little like trinkets and things that you put on your jackets, because so that it's easier for cars to see you when it's really, really dark before the snow arrives. And that's something you learn as a child, like you wear your reflexes. And everyone, like most people do when it's dark. And it's so startling when you're driving and there's someone who doesn't, because people are so hard to see. But they also bring a lot of joy, like you can get them so many more variations. Goodbye, child. Than when I was younger, like you can get little ghosties, you can get little cats, you can get stuff that you can stitch onto your coat or have a dangle as a little thingy, and yeah, there's just so many fun, cute things. It still has a functional purpose, which I'm a big fan of. We can be perfectly professional with glitter phone cases and pens with little figurines at the top. Exactly. Does not impact my ability to do my job in the least. And I think the sooner we sort of accept that, the better, because you just let people do their job with joy. Like, what's the problem? I apologize if there's a lot of noise in the background. I sense a said spouse. Reflective clothing would be such a good idea. I'm in Canada and it gets dark here early too, and oh boy, it gets difficult to see people at night. I'm surprised you don't have that, Luxelair, in Canada, because again, you are very much a similar, not wavelength, but what's the word? Latitude? Is latitude? I think latitude is the right word. Longitude is the other word. Madam, what are you chewing on? Thank you. Yeah, I remember I had a friend, or I have a friend, who had another friend from the US, and they were talking about how in Norway children have rain clothing so that they don't get wet when they're outside and when it's raining, and that was apparently not a thing back then. This is like 20 years ago. Maybe it's different now. So my friend sent them rain gear for their children so they could be out when it was raining too, because apparently in a lot of other places, if it's raining, you just stay inside and you just have umbrella and nothing else. But in Norway, like, you have full-on wellies and rain trousers and rain jackets and hats and everything. And same with the reflective clothing. We have a lot of reflective stuff. You can even get jackets that are just, or backpacks that are entirely reflective. That is just hits you in the face when you're driving and you hit them with your headlights and you're like, yeah, that's the person. And I love it. I'm here for reflective fashion. Latitude is the correct one? Yes, excellent. I always get words mixed up if they sound similar and have like opposite meaning. Like entropy and enthalpy and things like that. I would get mixed up, and enantiomerisms and stereoisomers and that kind of shenanigans. I would be like, which one is which again? What are you doing, darling? Why are you making noises as if you're sitting on paper? I feel like that's cat life or cat parenting. Is like, what are you doing? We are about to have some ads, and they shall be the last ones before we start wrapping up, I think. Oh well, drop that for me. Saved a screenshot the other day that said joy is essential, and that is one of my new mottos. I love that, MB Ferry. I think that is something I shall try to be learning as well. And what was I think the psychology thing that says that like the opposite of joy is not depression, it's like just nothingness, like feeling nothing. It was something along those lines. And yeah, I think joy is really important. I know in Finland it's law to wear reflectors. I love them because sometimes you only see people when the light beam breaks. Reflective fabric is available to buy. Oh, I love that. I did not realize that it was law to wear reflectors. I don't think it is in Norway as far. No, I don't think it's law in Norway. It's just kind of strongly encouraged, just like bike helmets. It's not illegal to not wear one, but you are very strongly encouraged to wear one for your own safety. But I wouldn't mind if it was more legalized, but then you also have to give people the alternative. But a lot of companies will give out like free reflectors with their brand logos on them. So there's always, and I also know several of my friends, when they're driving, if they see people without reflectors, they will like stop next to them and be like, I didn't see you there. Sorry, here, have a free reflector. And then they get kind of shamed into using them, which is like a sort of society thing that is, I find quite interesting. We only have reflective clothing for like high visibility vests for construction and things. I did wear a high vis vest for biking to work at 5:30 a.m. a few years back. I can definitely support wearing high visibility when biking because you are so squishable and so soft in traffic. My goodness, I would be very scared to bike in the dark without lights on my bike and reflective clothing. But in Norway, I think because bikes are technically, yeah, that is one thing that is actually law in Norway and maybe in Finland too. But when you are biking in the dark, because a bike is considered a vehicle, you are driving. In Norway, a bike is a vehicle that has a special dispensation to be on pedestrian paths, so long as they don't bike too fast. But when it's dark, you have to have front lights that is white and a rear light that is red on your bike so that you are seen. And you can actually get fined if you do not, which I think is very good development because bikes can come very fast in traffic, especially if it's dark or getting dark. So you have seen a drastic increase of bikes actually having proper lights at night in the last like 5-10 years, and I am here for it. More safety, more visibility, just yes. All the things. Yes, thank you. Dog dad life is also very similar. What are you chewing? It's too quiet. What are you doing? Very much so. Our cats are not too bad, knock on wood, with chewing weird things, but Soot will sometimes run off with, like, we buy this kind of wood that is supposed to be good for cats to chew and is supposed to have a similar effect to catnip. And Soot does not want to chew it, but she'll chew anything else that is wood, like tops of pencils, just any kind of stick. If it's regular wood, I have to be cautious because she will chew on it, but she doesn't want to chew the sticks she's supposed to be chewing that doesn't give her splinters. Madam. I'm wearing the reflective funny thing also here in Italy, and people are giving me some looks. Yeah, I've heard about people like coming to Norway for exchange studies, and they bring reflectors back to countries where they are very much not the norm, and the strange looks they get. I've heard some stories, and they are hilarious. I spent years selling and promoting dangly reflectors in the UK, and it was such an uphill struggle. Oh yeah, that makes me so sad because it's such an easy safety thing. But if there's not a culture of it, I guess, then it's hard. But I really liked it when they started putting high visibility vests on children, because then the adults also had to, you know, lead by example. So the adults in the kindergartens and things like that would wear vests, and now you also have these sort of vests that are just reflective straps that you put over your coat, have become popular. And yeah, I love it when you introduce things to children, to nurseries, and then the adults are like, oh, the children are holding us accountable, we too must do this thing now, and then you have a positive spread of some kind of behavior, which is like, yes. I have reflectors on the spokes on my bike. In Belgium, it is law to have both lights and reflectors on the back, but I'd rather have my bike be a Christmas tree than not being seen on my commute. Very much support that. Like, bikes are so fast and you are so squishy compared to all other traffic that I wear my helmet, I wear my reflective gear, I put on my lights, I bike slowly. I prefer to hang out in the pedestrian lanes if there is not a bike lane, because I don't want to fight with the cars. And then I just like bike so slowly on my little e-bike that I'm not a danger to pedestrians, because I have been passed many a time by bikes going way too fast, which is also quite scary. But my trike lights up like a funfair at night. I love it. I must get some dangly reflectors for my rucksack and jacket, especially as so much of my wardrobe is dark. I know, right? When I just started university, it was a very short coat, but it was the only one that I could afford. I couldn't afford the flowy, long black coat of my dreams, but I had a short one. And I hung dangly reflectors. I bought like 9 or 10 little ghost reflectors, and I would hang them all the way around the bottom of the hem. So it was like, I don't know, a lampshade with tassels or something. I loved it. It was so whimsical and so much fun. It made my black jacket very cute. The only problem was that it kept getting stuck on the handles of the bus. You know, the bus seats have these armrests, and the sides kept getting stuck. So I kept to get like new ones and sew them on again, because I kept tearing them off because I kept getting stuck on the bus. That I had that gave me a lot of good years before it gave up. I have to leave now. Enjoyed the stream. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think we shall be wrapping up in not too long, but I kind of hoped I would finish this thread first, but it was a very long thread. See, this is like, I have been doing so much work on this silly little patchwork thing, and it took half a year before I started continuing with the French knots that I started the very first stream. So this is what I mean with like, I need some sort of progress, or I will easily not do the thing I'm supposed to do and finish things. Sew them onto everything. Backpacks, shoulder bags, helmets, give them to the kids on the street. Love the ghost. There are also black reflectors, orange in the dark if you're squirmish. Interesting. Yeah, I've seen more and more of the ones that you just sort of glue or iron onto your clothing, which I think can be really cool and, you know, less prone to getting stuck into things. But I grew up with the dangly ones, little plastic dangly ones when I was a kid that were made of plastic and, you know, soft and squishy. They were like little circles with branding on the inside, and then like these bandanas that you pulled across your body to be seen. And then there have been such a development since then in reflective clothing. There's just so much. But yeah, I like the ones that I can sew onto things because they don't dangle and get stuck. But there is a special place in my heart for the dangly ones that I grew up with, because they get the job done. And it's amazing how effective they are. Sometimes I'm like, it's such a tiny piece of gear, and yet it has such an impact. Curses. Okay, now we really have to continue until we have fastened this thread again. Rude. Breaking on me at the end like that. It's not very nice. I'm glad to see we have an army of people who also like Dodo, Wood, and hello everybody. Hello, welcome. It is getting, we have been on for over 2 hours already. We are probably gonna start wrapping up in not too long, but we are still doing a few more French knots before we get that far. Here it's more dogs with reflective colors than children with reflective things. That's sad. That is quite sad. I agree. That is, yeah. In Norway, it's, you still see a lot of, especially young adults and adults, especially if they don't have children, without reflective things. It's not like everyone wears reflective things all of the time, but it's definitely, I do think that the majority wears some sort of reflective thing, and a lot of jackets also come with it built into the seams, like as piping. So like if you don't want to remember to bring yours, you can always just buy clothing that has it pre-installed. But yeah, that is quite sad that there are more dogs than people. You also get umbrellas that either have a line of reflection around the edge or it's reflection in its entirety. Spouse also has a running jacket that is entirely made out of reflective material, and it lights up when lights hit it. It's so fantastic. I love it. But I've especially seen people with backpacks or backpack covers. I think that's a really clever one. I have some of the ribbon that I had on my cape still that I've been wanting to put on something, but I haven't figured out what yet. But yeah, I am a big fan of reflective things. I think there's such an easy way to make traffic safer for everyone when it gets dark. Now I want to add, I once tried to make a reflective tablet woven band, you know, brocade. And I had a lot of fun with the project. The only problem was that being such a synthetic thing, it was just a plastic strip with reflection on it. And it was really sharp and it kept cutting my warp. So I had to, pardon. So I had to retie the warp, and eventually I gave up, having like just like, I don't know, 10 centimeter maybe, when I was supposed to make like a long ribbon I was gonna have around a coat. But I had to stop after that. I don't know if there are other ways to do that now. Maybe I could have braided the reflective material into something that was, because the problem was that it was like flat ends, sort of a very long rectangle, like a piece of plastic that had just been cut, and it was way too sharp and I didn't figure out a way to do it. But maybe if we could find different reflective thread than that could work, because that could be a fun little project to do. I still wanted my little reflective tablet woven brocade ribbons. That would have been cool. It should be such a non-starter. We're reflectors. You don't want to be hit by a bike, do you? Yeah, exactly. It is not about victim blame. It is just about, in this case, so long as you don't blame people if they get hit for not wearing reflectors, it's like, just make the traffic safer for everyone. It seems like such an easy solution. evening. Do you celebrate Samhain or Halloween in Norway? Not traditionally. All Hallows Eve was more of a thing, but even that was not really a big thing, but it's coming now, you know. It was starting to come very tiny bit when I was a child, just and people were usually scoffing at it, but now the children are expecting it and they see it and they talk about it in kindergarten, so it is coming more and more with the candy and the everything, but traditionally no, it's been more about the equinoxes and the solstices and those kinds of things. So, but I kind of like the Asian harvest moon festivals and those things because celebrating harvest is such a logical thing to do, like you've finally gotten it in, so that kind of is really cool, but we don't have anything like that that I can think of. It's a lot more looking towards the winter solstice and preparing for that, for when the days start getting brighter again, because at this time of year things are getting darker, and that is not really. So then you look towards the winter solstice, and then when the winter solstice has happened, of course, you can look towards the days getting brighter again every day. I love that glow-in-the-dark. I know glow-in-the-dark yarn exists, maybe using that. It's not reflective, it requires light sharding, but better than nothing. She'll have to look into it. I also know that like knitting yarn with reflective yarn spun into it exists, but that would be too thick for what I had planned. But maybe that is a project I can think about revisiting at some point. It has been over 10 years, I think, maybe 15 years since I tried, so it's been a while. Who knows what other materials and products might be on the market now. I wonder how reflective fabrics are made. I have reflective knitting yarn purple. Oh, that's cool. When I've been investigating, the really reflective ones have some sort of synthetic, and according to like at least some that I've been reading, like there are like these tiny glass beads that are sort of attached. I'm not sure. It has to be some sort of really good attachments because I don't really find glass beads lying around, but at least I've heard about that being a technique for one of them, and they're like really tiny. Either attached into the fabric or in some way, and that is what makes them super reflective. I know when I was a child it was all about plastic reflectors and you couldn't make it into clothing in the same way yet, but I don't know for sure, but I did hear about the reflective yarn and glass beads when I tried to look into it, because it would have been fun to try to make some, but I don't think that is something we can do. But it would have been fun to buy like tiny glass beads and like glue on like some sort of crafty project, anything into your own size. But it seems easier to just buy the fabric and cut it into whatever size one requires. Some processes are not so easy for us home crafters to emulate. As a kid, my rollerblading safety gear had reflective qualities to the pads and helmet. Yes, we've been talking about the wonders of reflective clothing and how in Scandinavia it is very common to wear reflective gear, especially now that it is especially this side of winter, because it's getting darker really fast, but the snow isn't in yet, so the snow really helps brighten everything up, and then sort of the need for reflective gear lessens. But right now, before the snows arrive, the reflective gear is essential, and it's quite common in Scandinavia that people are actually wearing it, which is very nice. I am very much in favor, and it was quite surprising when we lived in London for 2 years when people were not, and I was like, where is all the reflective clothing that I'm used to? This is supposed to be everywhere, but that was very much not a thing. Alright, I think it is getting late for me, so we shall finish this little French knot and then I shall leave this thread in for later, but it is as always very nice to chat with you for a bit. We are getting a little bit more settled in the workroom now, which means that return to normalcy might actually be achievable eventually. I have been hoping for this all September. It took a lot longer than I expected it to, but we are getting there. But for now, thank you for joining me. I shall be heading to bed, maybe a little evening walk before that, we shall see. But anyway, thank you for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you again next week. Bye!